Bob here from D&D Toy Reviews. It's been a while once again, but here we are back again with another review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Rebirth Batman. So, let's jump into it with accessories! So for accessories, we'll start off with his grappling gun, which we can see here is just a giant block of black plastic. It's been molded pretty nicely. There's some nice detail along the sides of the grapnel gun, if you can see that. And that just fits in his hand like so. It is a bit of a tight squeeze, but you can get it in there. And he will hold on to it pretty well. We also get the usual McFarlane pancake batarang. Come on, Batman, stand up. So here's the typical McFarlane batarang pancake. Although I will say this time around it seems to be more like a crepe than a pancake because it's a wee bit thinner. And once again, that just slides into his hand, though it can be a wee bit difficult to get it to stick in. If you can wedge it between the thumb and fingers like that, that will help. But it does have it at a bit of an odd angle. We also get a Batman who does not want to stand. But we do get the usual disc stand with the single peg. And we get the trading card. Although this time it is just a shot of the figure itself and not comic book art, which is a bit strange. So, moving on to Articulation! So for Articulation, starting at the head, we get a ball joint that lets us go side to side. We get a fair bit of motion up and a little bit down, which isn't bad. And we get a bit of wiggle waggle. We have the usual McFarlane shoulders that are on that soft ratchet and go out that far before the cape starts getting in the way. You can go forward that much before once again the cape starts getting in the way, and back about that much. There is a little bit of a butterfly joint, but not much. And the usual shoulder covering that they put in there seems to have been pushed in quite far because of the cape. We get a bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, and the usual ball and hinge joint from McFarlane. Now I will say one nice detail that they added, the top of his gauntlets here are made of a softer material, so it does not hinder the motion of the hand, which is a nice touch. Credit where credit's due. Moving down, we have the usual diaphragm twist, and this time we do get a wee bit of crunch forward and pretty good crunch going back. We also get a twist at the waist, so we've got one at the diaphragm, one at the waist, and that does actually get us quite a good crunch for a McFarlane Batman. The usual McFarlane hips that will go out this far to the side, kick this far forward, but they do start to put some strain on that soft overlay, so I would be careful about splitting. Back, pretty good, but again, barely any thigh swivel. Double jointed knee, no boot cut, and the usual ball hinge McFarlane ankles that always want to be a pain to work with, and a toe pivot. So pretty good articulation, some parts better than others, and getting him to stand can be a wee bit of a challenge, and wow, Batman really needs to start hitting those bicep curls. But as a comparison, since we've got Rebirth Batman here, here is the DC Essentials Rebirth Batman, which also gives me trouble standing up. Seems to be a running theme. So we can see there's quite a bit of differences between the two designs. The DC Essentials one, the costume is much more plain with no sculpted in details. The belt does not come down as steep of an angle, and the buckle is even sculpted differently. The Essentials one has gone for a dark blue instead of the black, and the gloves also much less simple sculpting, whereas the McFarlane one is just covered in sculpted detail. You can see here there's line work sculpted in all over the torso. The gauntlets have tons of detail sculpted in on them. The belt comes down at much more of a steep angle, and as I said, the buckle is molded differently. There's sculpted detail on the crotch overlay. He's got those New 52 style bat-eared knee pads, which I think just look ridiculous. We've got sculpted detail all over the boot. So this is just covered in sculpted detail, which is pretty nice. And the hat, as you can see, it goes for black instead of the blue. So, yeah, that's it. McFarlane DC Multiverse Rebirth Batman. Not a bad Batman figure. Not the best Batman figure. Not the worst. If you don't have a Rebirth Batman and you want one, it's a perfectly good one if you don't want to track down the DC Essentials one. Although I will say I kind of prefer the look of the Essentials one. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed the review, and catch you next time.